Hello Chris, congrats on winning the contest. Great walk cycle, I love it. Just small details that you can adjust to make it better, but yeah, overall it's really good. So yeah, let's go into it. Okay, so first I'm gonna start with about the head. So notice how at the beginning of the walk cycle, the head seems to be moving with the torso, and at the end of the walk cycle you have the overlap. But you see at the beginning, hi Chris, congrats on Hi Chris, congrats on winning the walk. Hi Chris, congrats on winning the contest. Well deserved. Hi Chris, congrats on winning the contest. Love the walk cycle, really good. Just small details that you can adjust to make it better, but yeah, overall it's really good. So yeah, let's go into it. So the first thing I wanted to point out is notice how the head at the beginning is moving quite a lot, like rigidly with the torso, and then at the end you have the overlap, but at the beginning you don't have that much overlap, and then it's well animated. So yeah, if you can animate the overlap on the head as you have it here, so this overlap, but at the beginning of the walk cycle as well, then okay, that would be one thing. Then I feel like the hips and the torso, you could exaggerate a bit more the rotations on this axis, so they rotate over themselves just a tiny bit more, not much, but I feel like they are quite rigid at the moment. So if you can just exaggerate it just a tiny bit, so the hips and the torso rotate on that axis a little bit more. Then about the knees, notice how the knees move forward and back. So I'm looking at this one right here. So notice how forward and back and forward. So you have that jerky movement to reduce the amount of shaking on the knees. What I would do is, you see here, you lift the feet quite a lot. So if you can just reduce the height so they move more close to the ground, you would make the knee so the knee wouldn't be that forward, and so when the leg gets straighter, the knee wouldn't travel back, or wouldn't travel back as much. So if you have the knee just move back a little bit just when the leg is straightened, that's fine as long as it's just a tiny bit. But right now I feel it's quite a lot, so you can see the knees shaking quite a lot. So yeah, if you can adjust that, I think that would be great. Then about the feet, notice how the feet you have they contact the ground, they are flat on the ground on 2 frames, and I think that's great. Contact pose 1 and 2 frames. But instead of just having a ease into the pose, what I would do is have the first frame, the first part of the foot is completely flat on the ground and the toes are dragging back, and the second frame, boom, the whole foot is flat on the ground. Instead of just having that, so this frame, this part of the foot would be completely flat on the ground, the toes would be raised a little bit, and then as you have it on the next frame, the foot is completely flat on the ground. Okay, let's see the front view. As you mentioned, this arm needs a bit more work, and yeah, it seems that the curves are a bit reversed, like it seems like instead of just overlapping the arm here, is going inside and out. Instead of just dragging back so the upper part of the arm moves back and then the lower part follows, seems that the lower part is leading towards the body and then the arm is getting closer to the body. So see how the wrist and the lower part seems to get closer first and then the upper part and should be kind of the opposite. So as the arm moves forward, that part, the lower arm, rotates outwards. So as the arm moves forward, the arm gets away from the body and rotates outwards, and as that would be rotating outwards still. So we will see more of the hand opening, the arm opening, and as it's moving back, that part of the lower part would be dragging still, the upper part would get closer to the body, and then the lower part would follow, but in that order. So yeah, just check the curves there. So the upper part is the one leading the action. And also when the arms move forward, yeah, as I mentioned, make sure that the wrist have also rotations out and in. So you see how when the arms rotate forward, the wrists seem to be locked on that same axis. They don't rotate outwards. They just seem to be on the same axis towards camera. So if you make so when the arms move forward, the hand rotate outwards and open, so they rotate outwards and they open toward camera a bit more, I think that would make the walk cycle a bit better. Also, I just noticed the head. I love how you have the head balanced, so you have that very powerful walk cycle, very decisive walk cycle, but I feel like if you could add a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of rotation on this axis, so it's not completely balanced still, so you have a bit more overlap on the head, so we can feel the rotation on that axis, just a tiny bit. And then another thing would be the feet, that as you can see from the front view, they are straight parallel to each other, straight towards camera, parallel to each other. Maybe if you can just open them a bit more, so they step and everything, just so they are not straight and parallel, so they are just pointing outwards a tiny bit, so it's a more organic feeling, has a more organic feeling. And also, if you want to exaggerate it a bit more, maybe when the feet move forward, have it so they open outwards a bit more, so they move outwards when they move forward, so they woo, boom, woo, boom, woo. You don't have to exaggerate it much, but so it's not just moving on a straight line, so boom, 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 boom. Just that kind of feeling. But yeah, overall, that's great. So that was the feedback for this walk cycle. Really love it. And yeah, see you around.